Hey guys, Caleb here. I'm going to show you how I go about calibrating the pinch wheels and testing the pinch wheels. So I think this might be a useful just tutorial for anyone who wants to check their calibration or calibrate their own. So here you go. So first step is remove the hot end, but heat it up. You're going to want that hot. I calibrate to 200 at 200 C, and I use specifically Maker Gear Red, not Maker Gear, Matter Hacker's Red filament, because that just happens to be what I had during the first test, so I've just stuck with that. There's nothing special about it, but I'm just trying to stay consistent. So you put the filament in with no hot end installed. Install the block here. I use the top of the Y plane here as a reference plane. Sorry, the top of the X rail as a reference plane. There's a mark there. Then I use my handy 100 millimeter jig. This is 100 millimeters from the bottom of this to the top of this. So what we do is mark 100 millimeters. Oops, try to get it as accurate as you can. Then we go into settings in Octoprint. Movement speed extruder, change to, let's say, 400. Save. In terminal in Octoprint, type M92E274. Enter G92E0. That sets 274 steps per millimeter and resets the E position to 0. Then we can extrude 100 millimeters. There it goes. And of course I forgot to install my extra pusher block. With no hot end, that shouldn't really matter. We'll get the same extruded either way. 274. It looks like this is coming up just a touch short, about 2 millimeters. So I can actually feel this. I was at 274 steps per millimeter. 275, 276, 277. I can feel those detents here. So I'm going to try 277. Back to terminal. M92, E277, G92E0. We'll just pull this back, reset this mark, and extrude again. Still about 1 or 2 short. So we'll go to back to terminal, M92, E 280, 279, G92, E0, reset again. This time for kicks, let's put this guy back on. And extrude 100 millimeters again. Take a look. Spot on. That's right on 100 millimeters. Okay, so now we write that down. So let me write that right on here. Okay. Now we install the hot end. And this thing is hot, so be careful. It will burn the snot out of you. Sometimes I need to just break off the end, but that looks good. That's going to insert just fine. We can't really use the marks we used before because we need to do a little purging and stuff. So let's purge 25 millimeters here. Then we'll mark a new 100 millimeters. That's going to be here. 100 extrude. And I forgot this again. So I'm going to have to redo that test. This is at, I forget what speed. I'll tell you in a second. The reason we need this now for sure is that we have the hot end installed, so it's providing a bunch of back force, and that's really what we want to test. Okay, and we're coming up a bit short, which is what you expect. We're about 3 millimeters short. Yep, 3 millimeters short. So we note that down. First we have to remember what speed we were using. That was 400. So back to Octoprint. So that was 400. I'm going to type that into the spreadsheet here. We're 3 millimeters short, which in 100 millimeter extrusion is 3%. So we're 3% short at 400. Change the extrusion speed to 200. That guy back on. New mark. And extrude. Now look, the way you can tell that you're getting really good extrusion and really consistent extrusion is by the way this guy coils up here. See how that coils up? Basically lines up one line right on top of another, even over this big distance. If your extruder is not doing that, you are not getting good extrusion for sure. It's also possible that you have, if the nozzle's a little bit clogged, you might not get a nice stream coming out like that. So you won't be able to tell if you're getting consistent extrusion or not. Anyway, let's see where we are. This was 200. Almost perfect on there. We're, what is that, 2 millimeters? Looks like 2 millimeters short. So we'll put in 2%. And then we'll try the 700 millimeters per minute setting. 700. Install the pusher block. New mark. And we're ready to extrude. Extrude. Well, One thing that's interesting is you'll notice the extrusion width on when you're going fast ends up really thick and slow ends up thin. You can see that. I don't think that affects your print really, because it's getting squished flat anyway. Anyway, where are we? This was 700 millimeters a minute. And here we are about 6% short. Maybe 7. Hard to tell with that ruler. But we'll say, whatever, 6.5%. And there you go. That is a calibrated pinch wheel, calibrated and tested. We know for sure that it can extrude fast, and we know for sure that it's 277 steps per millimeter, and there you have it.